Hello everyone, my name is Joshua and this is the 195th video on my video journal series. Today's date is Saturday the 22nd of August 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you, and today I've been slowly recovering from my illness. For those who aren't informed, I've been sick these last couple of days, it shows within my voice, and when I woke up today I definitely felt that fever, and I just sat in the lounge room on my laptop wrapped in a thin blanket, and then I started to, feel better. I got some sunshine. I had some solids, croissants, uh, bread, uh, mashed potato as well. Food to keep me going, and yeah, I feel a lot better now. But it's always in the evenings where I feel better. Hopefully, I don't wake up tomorrow and I just feel like sick again. But I'm gonna put all my clothes in the washer to make sure I don't get that cold again, any of those germs. So yeah, I've been slowly getting better. And it is a pain having a sickness at this point in the semester. At this point in the year, because I'm working on my assignments, and some days you're like, oh, I got too bad of a fever where you can't really like focus. But I got some pretty decent work done today. You just got to keep on chipping away at it. But anyway, I don't want to revolve this video just solely around my sickness. I think you're, no pun intended, sick of hearing that. But when I was on my laptop and all that, I just looked at a few websites, and uh, it really got me like thinking about all those animated movies which are going to come out next year. Uh, as of me recording this, it's the year 2026, but next year in 2027, there's going to be the Bluey movie, the new Simpsons movie, or the Simpsons movie 2, and then there's going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Those are the three main animated films coming out next year, and like, come to think about it, they're all like pretty big franchises. Obviously, I haven't watched like Bluey. I'm a little bit too old for it. I guess you can never be too old to watch Bluey, but it is a widely popular kids cartoon that's getting a movie next year. In fact, the trailer just dropped. I think it was like a week or two ago. Um, and then there's the Simpsons movie. I watched the OG Simpsons movie. As a kid, like growing up, and I loved it. So it's good that it's getting like a sequel coming out next year, 20 years after the original. And then Sonic the Hedgehog 4. I've watched Sonic 1, 2, and 3 in theaters, so obviously I'm going to watch the fourth one. Uh, I actually, excuse me if I have to clear my throat throughout this video, I'm not like fully recovered yet. I know it might be annoying, but bear with me, it won't be too long. But anyway, yeah, so Sonic the Hedgehog 4. I've watched Sonic 1, 2, 3 in theaters. So obviously I'm going to watch the fourth one. And the fourth one's going to be like, it's going to have like Amy Rose in it, and Metal Sonic, which were characters that were both introduced in Sonic CD, which is one of my favorite Sonic games. So yeah, I'm excited to see how Sonic the Hedgehog 4 goes. I don't know if they're going to make any more Sonic movies after that. Maybe one more, but it'll have to be based on like, I don't know, Sonic Heroes, or uh, I don't know, Sonic Mania. I mean, they already done like Sonic Adventure 2 with Sonic 3, Sonic 2 with Sonic 2, and the original Sonic the Hedgehog movie with OG Sonic. But, eventually they're just gonna, like, I don't know, revamp the series. I can't believe it's nearly been, nearly 7 years since the OG film came out. Like, nearly 7 years. It came out in like early 2020. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I actually watched that movie at the old Beverly Hills GU Cinema. For those who don't know, Beverly Hills is a suburb in Western Sydney, and it used to have like this small movie theater that was pretty famous in the area called the Beverly Hills GU Film House, I think it was. And it was pretty much the only reason why I went to that suburb, just to watch whatever was running, and it was pretty. I'm so sorry. It was a pretty small cinema, but it was really nice. It was really well maintained. It was sort of had that charm to it. Not like a big chain or whatever, like Event or Hoyts, more like a local sort of establishment. But that cinema actually closed down a while back. It's no longer a cinema. I think they've used it for another purpose now, which is kind of sad, you know. But at least I got fond memories of that place watching the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Um, and I guess it does suck where a local independent chain or could be a cinema, a store, whatever, just a small place run by a small family. Uh, Ceases to exist, and you're pretty much forced to go to one of the big chains. And while we're on the talk of movies, I know I already made an entry on movie theatre ticket prices, but I've always noticed that the more independent theatres have cheaper sort of prices for what you're getting. I know there's a cinema in the Sydney suburb of, I think it's Campbelltown or Macarthur, where they show like really cheap movies for like $11. Uh, which is like $11 for a movie ticket. It's like pretty good, and that's in AUD. So it shows that I guess movie ticket prices can be reasonable, but nowadays you have to fork over, I don't know, $25 for an adult ticket. If you're seeing a movie in IMAX or 3D, prepare to fork out more. Uh, and that doesn't even include the price of snacks and drinks and all that. But I feel like one of the main things that is keeping the cinema industry alive is all these, blockbusters that's been coming out. I know during like COVID, when everyone was sick, and if I had to relate it back to my sickness, I mean, I don't have COVID, I don't think so, but I remember when I had COVID, I think I got it in 2022, quite late, but yeah, it was way worse than my current illness. Uh, Literally felt like twice as worse. When you're like a burning furnace for like a week and not just a few days. But anyway, I remember, yeah, during COVID, a bunch of films were postponed or delayed till 2021 or 2022. Uh, the original Sonic the Hedgehog movie was one of those movies that sort of, uh, released just right before COVID in like March of, at least I saw it in like March of 2020. And, the COVID 19 outbreak, like in Australia, pretty much ramped up in like March, April. But it still made like decent money at the box office, so that just goes to prove how movies can make large amounts of money in just a short amount of time. But yeah, I guess ever since then, I guess the theater industry has been like recovering. Some movies haven't really fully recovered, or film studios. We still see uh, companies like Warner Bros, for instance. If you're watching this in the future, or I don't know, whatever year you're watching this, Warner Bros actually not too long ago cancelled a few films, and by not too long ago, I mean like over the last couple of years, because they've been running like financial debt. One of them was the Batgirl movie, a movie about Batgirl that was canned and written off as like a tax write-off. And then there was like a Scooby Doo like animated movie. I forgot the title of that. And then this movie called Coyote versus Acme. It was fully completed. Mind you, all these films were fully completed, but the first two I mentioned weren't released, and they're unlikely to get released now. But with Coyote versus Acme, what surprises me is that even though the movie was finished, 3 years ago in 2023, you know, Warner Brothers basically wrote off that movie because it was like, hey, we're just in such large amounts of debt. We need to, recuperate money. We're going to use these movies as a tax write off. But then they later sold that movie to another company, and that company is going to release that movie this month. Yes. And I'm excited. I'll definitely go in the theater and watch Coyote versus Acme. But yeah, it's astonishing that that movie nearly never came out, and it's such a shame that movies don't get released for like, just I don't know, the greediest of reasons. I just, don't like thinking about it. It's same with like lost media, why like certain uh forms of media could be music, video games, or film aren't released due to like a licensing issue or copyright, but it's literally there in the vault, And I'm like, well, if that piece of media is no longer being, I guess, cared for by its original creator, then I think it's up to the people to care for it and to preserve it. So yeah, I will be watching the well, hopefully I'll be watching. I definitely want to make an attempt to watch the Cody versus Acme movie. And you know, it's pretty much a miracle that that movie is yet again seeing the light of day. Apart from that, though, excuse me, there isn't really any other sort of movies that I know of that I'll be interested in watching. Um, but yet again, though, I feel like movies are constantly changing. Some movies are just, or some movie studios, I should say, are considering putting like AI in their movies or using AI to generate their posters. And yet again, though, I've stood firm on this. I don't think generative AI should be used for artistic works. AI has, some. I'll say this, like, it might sound a little bit controversial. I think AI has some useful promises, but not for art. Uh, AI is not really good at making sort of decisions, if you know what I mean, and replacing human creative output. Art is made with human emotion, right? If you strip that human emotion, you put a robot in, it just devoids the entire meaning of art. You can paint a really nice painting, or should I say, AI can make a really nice painting. Uh, Not that it can, but it can look visually colorful and hyper realistic, but then it loses that sort of emotion. It loses that meaning, and it just looks too uh, inauthentic. Meanwhile, you can have like a child, like a 10-year-old, make like a very sort of primitive painting, but it's got more human emotion and creative output than AI could ever do. So yeah, hopefully, you know, I really got to like yet again. I don't really want to jinx this, but hopefully, movie studios will know that people will not be flocking to the theaters to watch an entirely generated AI movie or a movie with AI actors. Uh, you know, because it just like I much rather like you know just have a movie with like a bunch of like B-list, celebrities or people, actors or whatever. People who might not even be like good at acting, rather than AI performances. And I think people made it loud and clear. That we much prefer humans over machines in that instance. Um, but yeah, apart from that, I know that was my little rant, but I really want to see how discussions of AI and sort of usage of AI sort of evolves from now. What would it look like in 20 years? I remember saying that AI will go the way of the internet, where it gets oversaturated. Sorry, I shouldn't say internet. I should say World Wide Web, because the internet can go back to like World War II. Kind of think about it. No way of like the .com bubble crash. I'll say that. Where you go all these websites appearing on the World Wide Web. A lot of it's just junk or just overinflated. Then the bubble bursts, and then it slowly creeps back up, and people I'm not saying like it's completely perfect, but it's sort of here to stay, and uh, same thing can't happen again. Am I right? Yeah, it definitely can, and I do think that this is just pure speculation. I'm just gonna make a random prediction, but I think you know the use of AI technologies, I guess, is here to stay, but there's certain things that it can't really do well, nor should it be used for. Um, and I guess here in the year 2026, it's the biggest new craze. Everyone's been talking about it. Uh, and I guess um, we'll just have to see where it goes from there. I don't know any future, but and let's hope it's a good one. Let's hope we can stay in charge and not bow down to our robot overlords. I think that was a Simpsons reference I was trying to make, but then I realized it's not robot overlords. It's I think it's lizard overlords or alien overlords, the one with like Kent Rockman on the TV. Anyway, pretty poor Simpsons reference, but to get things back on track, if I guess I had to really like end this video, is that I'm pretty excited for the movies coming out next year, all the animated movies. There's a few that pique my mind, especially Coyote versus Acme. And I guess, while we're on the subject of films, I don't, I'll be interested to see how films progress these next couple of years, and especially in relation to AI. Um, I don't think film studios are going to, I guess, make risky bets at the moment, because right now, here in the year 2026, most movies that are coming out are just like based off pre-existing IPs, and there's nothing wrong with that, certainly not. But we're not really seeing a whole lot of original films being released, and I think that's due to the fact that, um, all the major film studios, Hollywoods, is pretty much just doing whatever works, you know? I don't think right now a lot of film studios are like in the place of taking like risky bets with original sort of content. They, making remakes of old films or, using pre-existing IPs. And, I feel like some films shall be remade. Uh, there's some films that, in the past, I guess even back then, it didn't hold up all that well, and I feel like it could be readapted for a modern audience. But at the same time, I'll definitely like to see, sort of more original concepts in theater, and you know, I guess prioritizing creative output over just sole profits, profits, AI, and all that. Yeah, and I guess before I start like coughing all over the place, I'm gonna end this video right over here. Sorry if it's a little bit too short, but I'm gonna rest my voice, and hopefully I get well tomorrow. Anyway, I'll catch you all later, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, see you, take care. Catch you all tomorrow.